You would be shocked how many high-income Californians assume their standard insurance policy is enough until one lawsuit wipes out their savings, rental property, and even their kids' college fund. And unfortunately, they only find out that this gap existed too late after they already have been served, scrambling to shield what is left. I'm Ali Talai, a California asset protection attorney, and I help professionals and business owners protect what they have built before a lawsuit ever shows up. This video shows you exactly how umbrella insurance works and what it actually covers that your regular policy does not cover. And just as important, I will explain where insurance stops and how legal asset protection planning fits in to protect what insurance does not. So you can plug in the holes now, protect your future, and stop living one lawsuit away from a financial ruin. Let's start with the uncomfortable truth. California is a lawsuit-friendly state. People file lawsuits for all sorts of reasons. Some are justified and some absolutely not. Maybe someone slips and falls by your pool. Maybe your teenager causes a serious car accident. Maybe a neighbor trips on a crack in your sidewalk. Or you get in some sort of a fender bender and suddenly you're looking at a six-figure lawsuit for injuries and lost wages. Here's the thing in California. California does not have limits on most kind of damages people can claim in a personal injury case. That means if you're found legally responsible, a judge or a jury can order you to pay a massive amount, sometimes way more than you have in your checking account or even what your basic insurance covers. And this is the reason high net worth families, homeowners, business owners, and everyday folks across California constantly want to know, how do I protect myself if I get sued? And this is where having the proper umbrella insurance can really help. Umbrella insurance is not a magic, does not do any magic tricks. It is simply one of the smartest ways to fill the gap in your existing insurance coverage. Again, I don't sell any insurance. The purpose behind this video and the reason I wanted to create this video was to be able to provide some information based on what I get to deal with for my clients and their insurance policies and the insurance agents wanting to make sure we have the proper insurance. In asset protection planning, having layered asset protection becomes really helpful, and usually the first layer is the insurance. And I want to make sure that my clients have the right insurance in place. They have the proper insurance in place. They have the proper coverage in place. And so that is the reason I decided to make this video. So let's say you have a homeowner's policy with a $300,000 liability limit. That means if you're sued and lose, your insurance pays up to the $300,000. If the verdict comes back at $1 million, your policy stops at $300,000. Now you're personally responsible for the remaining $700,000. That can't mean draining your savings, selling assets, or putting your home at risk. That is where umbrella insurance comes in. An umbrella policy sits on top of your home, auto, or other personal liability policies and expands your total coverage. If a claim exceeds the limits of your underlying policy, the umbrella policy steps in to cover the excess, often in $1 million increments and sometimes much more. Another important piece that people most of the times don't understand is how legal defense works. In most cases, your underlying auto or homeowner's policy hires and pays the attorneys to defend you. The umbrella policy then increases the amount of protection available if the case becomes serious or damages are large. Either way, having proper insurance in place means you're not personally funding a legal defense while a lawsuit is unfolding. And in California, defense costs alone can easily reach six figures. Umbrella insurance also extends protection to other members of your household. If your spouse or teenage driver causes an accident that leads to a lawsuit, the umbrella policy can help protect the entire family. All right, so let's talk about a few examples. Case number one. Imagine you're a parent now, your 18-year-old borrows your car, texts while driving, and causes a serious car accident on the 405. We have enough traffic on the 405 at all times, but now your child has caused more traffic. Someone is badly injured and sues for medical costs and lost earnings totaling to over, let's say, $900,000. Your auto insurance covers $250,000, and then you would be staring down on a $650,000 bill, unless you had an umbrella policy that would step in and pay the rest. All right, case number two. You invite some friends over for a barbecue. It's summertime. You guys are hanging out in the backyard. Someone slips on a wet patio, hits his head, and winds up with a concussion. And several months of physical therapy, medical bills, and lost income quickly adds up. Your homeowner's insurance might cover the first chunk, but what if the claim exceeds your policy limit? A good umbrella policy covers the rest, so you don't have to sell your house to pay the verdict. Case number three, and this is where a lot of people get this thing wrong. Let's say you're a business owner and you're at a networking event, provisor event. You accidentally spill coffee on someone's expensive laptop and they sue you. Many people assume their personal umbrella policy will cover this, but in a lot of cases, it won't. Business-related claims are often excluded from personal umbrellas. This is why business owner may need separate business liability insurance or a commercial umbrella policy. These are real risks for real folks in California, and lawsuits often come with attorney fees and court fees, and most of the times, a lot of it. First one I get to hear is that I don't have enough assets to be a target, so I don't need to have an umbrella policy, and that is not true. If you're sued and you lose, California law allows the winner to go after your future wages, bank account, and even force the sale of non-exempt assets. And so you really don't need to be super wealthy to need protection, asset protection, that is. Second thing I hear, my homeowners or auto insurance is enough. Usually those policies have liability limit of $100,000 to $500,000. In California, where car accidents and injury awards can reach into the millions, those limits can be exhausted fast. Even a single bad accident could be financially devastating. Third one I get to hear, umbrella insurance is only for the rich. In reality, it's for anyone with a job, a family, a home, or anything to protect. If you own a home, drive a car, have teenagers that are driving, rent out property, or host gatherings, invite me, but congratulations, you are at risk. The fourth myth I get to hear is that umbrella insurance covers everything. Nope. No. It does not cover intentional acts, which means if you cause harm on purpose, business-related liabilities for your corporations or liability for certain high-risk activities, unless it is specifically added to the policy. If you own a business or rental properties, you may need extra coverage or a separate umbrella policy. Umbrella insurance also does not fix poor legal structuring. If assets are held incorrectly or if everything is owned in your personal name, insurance alone may not be enough. And the last myth that I would share with you is that I get to hear the policy is too expensive, the umbrella policy is too expensive. In reality, umbrella coverage is often far more affordable than people expect, especially when you compare it to the level of protection it provides. For many families, it offers significant peace of mind at a relatively modest cost. Often less than what they spend on everyday services they barely think about. I do want to point out the fact that it's really critical to understand what your umbrella policy actually covers. Some policies exclude rental properties or business-related claims. Others have limits on out-of-state or international incidents. Don't assume. Review the exclusions carefully. Here's the key thing to understand. Umbrella insurance is powerful, but it is not the only line of defense in California. Coverage can be denied, limits can be exhausted, or a claim may fall outside of what your policy covers, especially when business or rental activity is involved. This is where legal asset protection planning matters. Using LLCs to separate rental properties, keeping business assets isolated from personal assets, and structuring through trust, the right type of trust, irrevocable trust, asset protection trust, can limit how much a creditor can actually reach. And the goal of asset protection is to make it more difficult for a creditor to have the ability to reach your assets. The more difficult the process becomes, it gives us a greater chance to be able to protect our assets because the creditor may not want to pursue it. It may take them too long. They may just be much more willing to settle the case. As I mentioned earlier, I do not sell insurance, but I work closely with clients and their insurance professionals to make sure coverage and legal structure actually work together. When those pieces are aligned, lawsuits are easier to manage and far less damaging. So today we covered how umbrella insurance works in California and why it's such a critical first line of defense against lawsuits. You saw what these policies cover, where the gaps are, and why relying on basic insurance alone can be risky. So if you care about protecting your savings, your home, and your family's future, an umbrella insurance is one of the smartest and most affordable steps you can take. But protection doesn't stop there. If you want to make sure your hard-earned wealth stays in your family and it is not lost to creditors, lawsuits, or even your kids' own mistakes, you need to watch the next video. It is called Kids and Wealth: Protecting Your Children's Inheritance from Themselves in California. I look forward to seeing you over there.